We are back with Q&A Wednesdays. I'm your host, Intellects, and our question for the month is, how would someone who's undisciplined accept it? So we were just going over this one video. I'll double back again. So we're talking about self-discipline, right? Self-discipline is your ability to control one's feelings and one's weaknesses. So the key word is control, right? We also talked about how there has to be a mastery over your thoughts. If you cannot control here, you won't be able to control what you do, right? Because before any action happens, there is a thought first. So there's a thought before it's a word, before it's an action, before it's a lifestyle. So keep that in mind, okay? We also talked about in this last video, as well as the one before it with Jocko, how you have to take ownership, right? You can blame other people, but until you take responsibility and accountability for your lack of success or your lack of discipline, you're going to be in the same spot, right? Now, I used an example where you shine a light in darkness and the darkness disappears. Now, in your life, that darkness can be that undiscipline, can be that fear or whatever it is that may be holding you back. Once you shine that light on it, you expose it, but not just expose it. Don't just expose it, right? Once you expose it, have a game plan on how you are going to change it and do something better, right? Because you can admit you have a problem, but if there's nothing being done about it, it's going to be the same thing over and over again until change happens. Nothing changes unless something changes, right? And nothing changes if nothing changes. You can expose it, but if there's no change, then you're going to keep going through the same things, keep having the same mentality. But once you change up here, that's the key, because your perception of life depends on how you look at it from a mental standpoint. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. He also talked about making the necessary changes, right? Like I said, nothing changes if nothing changes. So once you actually make the changes, after you expose what the issue is, that's when you can see it. And he said self-discipline is the bridge between your goals and accomplishments. Is actually something that is necessary for success. In order to be successful, there's so many people out here who are successful, and success is based on your definition, right? There's so many people out here that you may consider to be successful, that I may consider to be successful, who have a great deal going on, who have so many things working for them because they are disciplined, right? Whereas like everybody else may be hanging out. Oh, I can't. I got to work on what I want. I have to do this. I have to do that. Sacrifice is a part of discipline. If you are not sacrificing for what you love, you're not going to get very far, because whatever you love requires sacrifice in every area of life. So you can think on that. All right. So doing within while you're doing without, meaning putting the work in, doing that inner work, as well as how it manifests on the outside. So he made a quote about Zig Ziglar saying, when you do the things you ought to do, when you ought to do them, the day will come when you can do the things that you want to do when you want to do them. So it's all a matter about what do you want later on as opposed to what do you want now, right? And that's a decision that you have to make. You're either going to pay now or pay later. But you can have fun now or you can have fun later. Put the work in now or put the work in later. But either way, you're going to reap what you sow. So whatever you put in, that's what you're going to get out. You can't expect grapes if you're planting oranges, right? You can't expect one thing if you're doing something else. You only get what you put in, okay? And then there will be days where you do not want to do anything. There will be times when you don't want to be disciplined. You don't want to get up early. You don't want to work out. That is a part of life. You have to fight through that. And you have to be consistent enough. Force yourself. Like he said, trick yourself into doing it. Like, I'm just going to spend 5 minutes on it. Once you're actually in the flow of it, you'll be able to kind of go in and do what you want to do, right? And, He said, okay, I'm going to spend 5 minutes. It ends up being an hour. All you have to do is start, honestly. That's the hardest part. And once you start, it's so great. Like, I may not feel like working out, but once I actually do it, I feel so much better. I have more energy, and then once you do it more often, like I said before, 21 days forms a habit. Once you do it to the point where it's a habit, it's like second nature. Like, okay, I'm going to drink some water today. All right, I'm going to go work out. There are some days where I don't feel like it. Yes. But I still do it